Hey there friends and neighbors, Bobby here today. Hey folks, today I'm going to show you how to do an air conditioning performance check on your vehicle, so stay tuned. Okay folks, the first thing that we're going to do, we have a set of R134 gauges here, okay? And we are going to hook them up to the vehicle. And we'll start with the low side hose, which is commonly the blue one. And on this vehicle, the low side is right over here on the accumulator. We'll go ahead and take the cap off, and then we will install our quick connect here, and it'll just snap into place. And then you take and screw the top of the little hose connector here clockwise until it stops, and then that one's hooked up. And we'll go over here and find the high side port, and we'll use the red one, which is commonly the high side connector on your set of gauges. And here's your port. We'll go ahead and do it the same way. We'll snap it into place and turn it down clockwise. Now with the gauges hooked up to the vehicle and the vehicle in the off position, you can see that we have a static pressure reading of about 85 to 90 pounds on the low side and about 85 to 90 pounds on the high side. Now that right there just means that there is refrigerant in the system. So we're going to go ahead and start the vehicle now. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the vehicle. Now down here on your heater control panel, go ahead and cut your fan at the maximum speed. Go ahead and make sure your blend door is all the way in the cold position, and make sure you're on max AC. Okay friends, I'm looking at these gauge readings. I got about 200 on the high side, and I have about 28 on the low side, okay? That's a little bit low, all right? And the customer that owns this vehicle was complaining that sometimes at stoplights the AC was not working very well. We've had some real hot climate here in this area right now, but I can see that this is a little bit low in refrigerant. So probably today we're going to go ahead and add about a half a pound, and that should correct the problem. Okay friends, I drew this little diagram here so I can kind of explain the type of pressure readings that you would be looking for to be ideal when checking your AC system. This represents a low pressure gauge, and the green is shaded area is kind of like the range that I would like to see for low pressure reading. Anywhere between about 30 and 40 pounds of pressure is actually about the norm. For your high side reading, anywhere from about 175 to about 250 or so is about the norm. Now these can vary just based on the ambient temperature and whether or not the car is sitting still or moving. But today, with the vehicle that we just checked out, we noticed that the low side is a little bit low. You know, it's like around 28 pounds. And that's low enough to cycle out the compressor. The low pressure switch can actually cycle the compressor on and off. And that's probably why our customer was getting a little bit of not cooling properly sitting at stoplights and so forth. Now there's two things that we could do to this vehicle to actually help it perform a little bit better. We could actually evacuate all of the refrigerant out of it and recharge it with the proper amount, or we could simply just add probably about, you know, no more than a half a pound, and we'll watch our pressure readings get up here to where they belong. So that's probably what we're going to do today on this vehicle. So stay tuned. On your set of gauges here, you have a yellow hose here in the center, and this is the one that you can hook up to a can of R134A for filling purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. We have a little adapter here, and inside there, when I screw this down, it'll have a little pin that will actually puncture this can, and then it will allow the refrigerant to travel through this hose. So let's just go ahead and install a brand new can, and we will tighten it down. Don't overdo it, just enough to where the rubber seal will seat. And then we'll go ahead and puncture this can by turning it all the way in. And once it's turned all the way in, you can turn it all the way out. And actually, I just heard it. I don't know if you heard it, but you can hear a little bit of refrigerant traveling through the line. Now, back over here to our gauges. There could be some air in that line, because it's been a while since we used this set of gauges. So we'll go ahead and we'll crack this line here just a little bit, just enough to allow the refrigerant to push the air out of our line. Okay friends, with the gauges hooked up, I'm going to turn this valve here counterclockwise, and that's actually going to start allowing some of the refrigerant to go in the system. Okay, now I'm not going to add the whole can, so I'm going to do it in little stages here. I'm going to open a little bit more, put a little bit more refrigerant in. I'm going to kind of shake this can and I can feel the weight of it and see how much refrigerant is going in. Cut it off for a minute and let that equalize. Okay, we're up around about 40 now on the low side. Our high side is reading probably about 235, 240. And we didn't have to add too much. I'm actually going to give it another little squirt here. Friends, I think that's going to just about do it. That's looking pretty good. We're about 40 on the high side. We're about 240 on the, what did I say? I said 40 on the low side, 240 on the high side. Let's go inside and see what the temperature output on the vents are. Okay, we're inside the vehicle and we have our thermometer installed into the center vent. And this thing is kicking out some cold air. It's reading about 48 degrees, which is awesome for today, because the ambient temperature here today inside this shop is about 90 degrees. So that is a good differential between the output temperature versus the ambient temperature. I think we have definitely corrected our customer's problem, and she should be very happy with her vehicle now. Okay, we're going to disconnect everything, folks, the gauges. So we'll go over here to the low side port. We'll turn this blue knob counterclockwise, and then we'll go ahead and snap that off. We'll go ahead and put our cap back on our fitting there. We'll go over here to the high side, and we will do the same thing. Turn it counterclockwise. Now sometimes you will hear just a little bit of weepage coming around your Schrader port, and actually that was already stopped. Sometimes you may take a little screwdriver and just kind of pop it one little time. It could be like a little piece of trash around that Schrader valve seat. But we're going to be good to go there. Friends, that's about all you have to do a air conditioning performance check. I thank you for stopping by today, and hopefully you can perform this on your own vehicle and have some nice cold air. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.